So the spirits really want to talk about the brain today. In the Western society, the brain is very much kind of revered, and it is indeed a supercomputer. It is the supercomputer. It undertakes and achieves all our operations in our body, our bodily functions. It's like the supreme rationale. It sorts out the involuntary, the voluntary, all the nerve endings, everything, the whole functioning of our body. It is the master of that. In the Western society, the brain is very much the male, masculine, rational kind of thinking side. And that's how we think of it, and not so much in the Eastern world, but in the Western world. And the spirits really want to talk about that today. They want to talk about how it's like the brain is at the top of the tree. They want to compare it to AI, and they also want to compare it to the nervousness around AI at the moment, in terms of it's overachieving. It's overachieving in a sense. It's become so smart. There's those iRobot fears about it, that it's going to take over and start having sovereignty over us and start deciding our life and our morals and our laws or whatever. It's almost become, it's like a runaway train. There's that slight fear that it's becoming like a runaway train, and there's a nervousness that it's going too far for us to bring it back in time. So there's that on the table going on. And the spirit world really want me to compare the brain to actually AI, because they want to say that the brain, although being a supercomputer, it is not the master. Its correct position in terms of the energy, our whole self, and in terms of where the brain sits in terms of our whole self, in terms of an energy body that we are, it is not the master. It should be, the correct position for it should be the servant and not the master. And if we start to revere it to such an extent, or give it that kind of ego to such an extent that we're believing it to be, or in a sense that it should be our rightful boss, that should be our boss swanning around the office, it's incorrect. And to have that view of it as the boss and not as a servant, to have that view of it as a master, gives us a slightly twisted thinking, because certainly the Eastern world think more in terms of energy, our whole selves in terms of energy and spiritual energy, and that's the correct version. So the brain serves the intention of the energy. So the brain serves for our survival, yes, but it serves to match our own energy. It should be the servant of our energy, not leading us kind of by the nose wherever the brain thinks. The brain doesn't have, like AI, it doesn't have that kind of intrinsic wisdom. It will keep us surviving. It doesn't have the intrinsic wisdom to direct us necessarily in the right direction for our growth and our future and our happiness. It doesn't take us necessarily to happiness. It takes us to coping, it takes us to survival. And really importantly, if the actual culmination of our energy, the totality of our energy in any particular moment of our life, we have a totality of energetic vibrations, of the amount of energy that we are holding within ourselves. Refer back to the other video that they wanted to do about the vase and our energy likened to a vase. It was a really important one. So thinking of our energy as a totality, as a vase, if you like, hopefully without breaks in it, without fissures in it, without cracks in it, the containment of our energy in any one point, that vibration is our sum total. Now, the brain can only achieve the same energy vibration as the totality of our energy as it sits in the now. The brain can't take us to a higher energy. The brain can't take us to a higher energy. Cut. So the brain can't take us, can't take us to a higher energy pitch, higher energy vibration than the totality of our vase, of our energy vase, if you like. Because by law of attraction that's always working on us, the inside equals the outside. The brain will have the knowledge of where our energy is set, and it may be able to momentarily put us up to a certain energy, but then we'll have to go back to that default level of energy. Now, this is why it is not the master, but should rightly be put as the servant of us. We should correctly adjust it into something that serves us, rather than this kind of big ego thing that it's kind of got going on, that it's in charge, it knows everything. It's a capacity, an incredible capacity, the brain, but it is capacity for us to be the master of. And that said, the brain can only default back, as I said, can only default back to our natural energy. It's like if we have, let's say we have £1,000 in our bank account. You know, we can go into overdraft and we can borrow some money, but we don't really adjust the fact that our actual money that we own is 1,000. And so our brain can kind of do these adjustments when we have play and we have super times and real highs, and maybe we get addicted to something or other. So our brain can put us into these highs, but we will have to then go back to the default, because law of attraction means the outside equaling the inside. Law of attraction will bring back to us, just as the brain knows it can't go beyond, it can't borrow excessively, it can't go beyond the actual energy level that is truth. The truth of our energy level is exactly that. It is the truth. It can momentarily kind of lie that we're at this level, that level, or this one, but it will adjust itself naturally back to a default position of the exact energy that we have. You know, via law of attraction. Law of attraction, everything in the world around us will be fitting in with the exact energy match. It will match us. We can't go beyond. So believing that the brain can give us, it certainly can give us lots of things, lots of enlightenment, but actually what happens first is that energy shifts first, and then the enlightenment will come. So in a sense, the brain is more reactive to energy. It is not, so it's reacting to our energy and then making that the new landscape. It's responding to the change in the landscape of our energy. So when we begin to repair all our holes in our spiritual skin, our vase, if you like, that holds all our energy, when we stop leaking energy here, there and everywhere, when we start containing energy, the brain will, first of all, the energy will lift and the vibrations will lift, and we'll have more energy contained within our egg, if you like, or our vase. The brain will find the ways then that match the energy. So when we have these moments of inspiration, It's actually not so much. It is coming from the brain, yes, the brain is, but the brain is enacting on the lift in the energy. So the brain is responding to, for example, if our true self, our energy self, has just done nothing but focus on this issue, day and night and day and night and day and night and day, and then just begins to just knock everything else aside and actually say, well, I'm not going to get influenced or distracted. I'm just going to, what the hell, I'm just going to go day and night, day and night, day and night on this until I achieve what I want with this. Start stopping all the energy leaks here, there and everywhere. Anything that is consuming our energy, all those worries, all those concerns. To start that level of focus, what we don't realize we're doing is we're focusing first. And when we focus, we are then containing the energy. And that is what then allows the brain to then find the next rung on the ladder, if you like. The brain, our focus gives the energy. The energy allows our whole self to flood with energy, and the brain can then use that to then find the next rung of the ladder. But it's important, they want to make that point that it's that way round. If we start thinking that the brain is the master, it's quite a dangerous premise to have, because the brain is concerned with survival, but it's also, its concern is it has to match up with law of attraction. It has to match up with the default energy that we have within us. And so that will be its concern, will be pitching that energy correctly so that we're equally matched with the law of attraction all the time. Plus all the millions and millions and millions and billions of tasks that it's doing anyway. You know, we're asking so much of it. We're asking so much of our brain, really, to not only perform all these day-to-day bodily function tasks, hormones, nerves, whatever, and thought processes, and to be master as well. No, that's not the role of the brain. And in fact, because the brain is giving us this default position, if we've taken a high, the brain will bring us back to a default lower to match it up. So like +2, -2. Eventually we'll get the -2 in order to catch, it kind of equals that balance. It's a default position. Reaching up to 50, then you'll get the down 50. Because that equals out, pain, pleasure kind of equals out, and we'll then go back to. So it's constantly giving us an equilibrium and a balance. It's like this moving balancing scale that this brain will be doing for us all the time in order to match our energy. It's matching up our energies all the time, as well as all these incredible supercomputer things that it's doing. But it very much in the Western world, there's this massive focus on it. Yes, it's being a supercomputer, but it's like it's like giving AI power. We wouldn't want to do that. And it's the same thing with the brain. It is an incredible facility for us to use, but it's not in place of instinct and truth. Instinct and truth and energy are the master. And the brain will be just slightly following that energy that we've created for ourselves.